We're about to pull back the curtain on the world, to strip away all the nice, comforting things you've been taught. But I have to warn you, what you're about to hear is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, we're starting with that. That's a direct warning from the source material we're digging into today. Because what comes next? Well, it's designed to challenge the very foundation of how you see everything and everyone around you.
You know, for most of us, life feels kind of like a big carnival. We're drawn to the flashy lights, we get caught up in the games, and we basically just assume that deep down, everything is fun and fair.
But what if that's just the show? What if behind that colorful facade, there's a different machine running the whole thing? A machine that operates on a set of rules you probably don't want to believe are real. Because if you don't understand how that machine works, you're not just a guest at the carnival, you're part of the act.
So let's start with the engine itself, the thing that, according to this guide, actually makes the world go round.
It's not hope. It's not love or justice or any of that. It's power, greed, and betrayal. Our source is incredibly blunt about this. These three things are the true motor of human history. And until you accept that, you're going to be outmaneuvered. You're going to be played for a fool. Simple as that.
So you might be asking, what about all the noble causes, our beliefs, our morals? Well, this guide has a completely different take on them. It sees them as nothing more than a Trojan horse.
Think about it for a second. These huge, grand ideologies, they're presented to us as these sacred truths. But really, they're just incredibly effective tools for getting huge crowds of people to move in one direction, usually serving the ambitions of a tiny few who are hiding inside that horse.
Okay, so if that's the world we're living in, how are you supposed to operate? How do you survive, let alone win? Well, that brings us to the rules of the game.
And rule number one is this: stay out of the spotlight. The public hero, the person everyone loves and celebrates, they immediately attract rivals and just toxic envy. A visible target is always the first to get taken down. The real player, the one with the real power, moves in the shadows. No one's quite sure what they want, no one can see their moves until it's way too late.
You also have to be incredibly wary of people who are constantly talking about how virtuous they are, how oppressed they are. It's often just a mask, a really clever shield that lets them justify their own aggressive moves while hiding their real weapons.
This cold logic extends to your friends and your partners too. In this worldview, there are no permanent allies. There are only temporary tools. You find a common goal, you team up to get it done, and the second you succeed, the game flips. You're not partners anymore. You're rivals, fighting over the prize.
I know, this is a pretty harsh way to look at the world, but our whole goal here is to explore these kinds of difficult, challenging perspectives. If you think this kind of analysis is valuable, do us a favor and subscribe. That way you won't miss what we uncover next.
All right, let's get to the part that's going to cut the deepest. This is where we stop talking about the world out there and start talking about the people right next to you, the currency of relationships.
You ever get an unexpected favor? Some act of kindness that came out of nowhere? Well, according to this guide, you should be deeply suspicious. It's not a gift. It's the first payment on a debt you never agreed to. The person giving it is making a calculated play to put you in their pocket. You're not a friend. You're becoming a resource.
And that leads to probably the most brutal, gut-punching idea in this whole thing. People don't love you. They love what you provide. They love what you can do for them, how you make them feel, or how you fit into their plans.
To put it another way, every single relationship is transactional. Every single one. And the moment your usefulness runs out, so does all that love and loyalty you thought you had earned.
You see, people say they want the truth, but they really don't. They want you to confirm what they already think. If you give them raw, honest feedback, they'll end up resenting you for it. But if you give them flattery, if you tell them exactly what they want to hear, they'll adore you. It's a simple and frankly a pretty depressing social formula.
And finally, this. No matter how important you think you are, to your job, to your friends, to your family, the world will move on without you in a heartbeat. To the grand machine of things, everyone is replaceable.
So, after all that, what's the final verdict? What's the big picture this cynical guide is painting for us? Let's sum it all up.
We're all taught to believe in a world with a fair accounting system, right? That if you put good out, you get good back. That if you work hard, you'll be rewarded. But this guide says, nope.
The world isn't a fair system, it's a chaotic marketplace. There are no guarantees. You should expect absolutely nothing in return for your good deeds, and never ever count on justice to show up and save you.
We have definitely journeyed through a dark, but I think a really compelling view of reality today. If you're the kind of person who finds value in staring at these difficult ideas head on, then make sure you're subscribed, and maybe share this with someone you know who can handle it.
And that, right there, is the ultimate point. This isn't about making you feel hopeless. It's about making you aware. The source material has just laid out the rules of the game as it sees them. It's not telling you to become a monster. It's just showing you the board. So the final, and really the only question that matters, is left for you to answer.